Moving across to Apple TV Plus now, Hannah, for a new period drama series which arrived on the 14th of February, Wednesday the 14th. It's called The New Look, and here's a clip.
I keep looking for the great collection to rise from the ashes of the war. Shujo, what do you desire?
To design the most beautiful women's clothing that ever existed.
Christian Dior ruined French couture, and I'm coming back to save it.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, Apple TV Plus, as we always say, does things pretty well, and they throw quite a big chunk of money, it seems, at things. And this is, no different. So this is kind of The New Look is inspired by true events. So it's not actually true, but it's inspired by those events. So there's a theme of accuracy that runs through it, one would assume, and it explores the life of Christian Dior, the designer Christian Dior, which if you're lucky enough, you might have one of his bags, and things we all aspire to have, and it's really, really interesting because quite often designers are so different to the. I mean, I don't know if I even give much thought to the designer of the bag. I like it, that's the end of it. I don't know. So this really kind of gives you a real insight. So it follows the French couturier, Ben, who's played by Ben Mendelsohn, right from the very beginning of his career, which was when Paris was occupied by the Nazis in World War II, and seeing some of his creations then, and really kind of, I suppose, it pieces the jigsaw puzzle together, because for someone like myself who wasn't around in World War II, I see more modern, contemporary, designs, and this is kind of seeing where this all began and why he became such, I suppose, a big name. But this isn't just superficial stuff. This is kind of delving into his actual life and kind of his personal life, and the concerns that he had, the worries he had around his sister, who was a fighter in the French resistance. So she was risking her life on a daily basis. So you kind of get to see the person in full, I suppose. And you also get a little insight into Coco Chanel. At that point, she closed her boutique, but she was still kind of partying in that Parisian high society. She struck up a friendship with German intelligence officers, so she was hanging around with the wrong squad. It's very interesting. It's like a lot of these sort of docuseries, I suppose, where we learn parts of history that we didn't know, and I found really interesting. And as I say, it is inspired by real events, and so therefore you can only hope that a lot of it is very, very accurate. But of course, you take from that what you will. But I found it actually really quite interesting, and being someone who is interested in art and design and that kind of creativity, and then seeing the person behind the things that we now adore and have huge price tags to them, is fascinating. So this is dropped, I think it's 3 episodes, and then it's weekly from then on. What did you think, Ian?
I can't say I'm a fan. This is not a good week for me, I'll admit it. So, I mean, if you're expecting to learn a lot about the new look and fashion, you might be surprised, because it's very much, as you said, Hannah, it's very much a sort of wartime drama about occupied France. Now, Ben Mendelsohn, I'm a fan of his. He is in a superb series called Bloodline, which is set in the Florida Keys, and he's kind of a prodigal son who comes back to rejoin his family. That's well worth checking out. I think he's a bit miscast in this as Dior. He kind of comes across a bit more like an accountant or something rather than a brilliant fashion designer. It's got a great cast. I mean, it's got Juliette Binoche, who seems to be having a bit of a career renaissance. She is Coco Chanel, who, as you say, was hanging about with the Nazis. We even have her meeting Himmler in episode 1, which is a bit weird. You've got John Malkovich doing an absolutely dreadful French accent as Dior's wartime employer. And Maisie Williams is supposed to be playing Christian Dior's sister, but because of the massive age difference between the actors, she looks more like his daughter. You got Glenn Close as well as Harper's Bazaar editor-in-chief. So it's certainly got star power, but I don't think it really gets to grips with the whole collaboration issue of Vichy France. There's some bad accents. I wasn't that thrilled. I wasn't that taken with it. I mean, I think as a wartime drama, it's reasonably effective, but there's a lot about it that I didn't really think was up to scratch.